The Cursed Halls of the Diplomat Hotel, a true horror story from Baguio, Philippines. Perched on the misty hills of Baguio, the Diplomat Hotel looms like a skeletal giant, its broken windows staring blindly into the night. Built in 1915 as a retreat for Dominican priests, it was meant to be a sanctuary, a place of prayer and peace. But history had other plans. When World War II erupted, the Japanese Imperial Army seized the building. The basement, once used for storing wine, became a torture chamber. Priests, nuns, and civilians were dragged into its depths, their screams muffled by thick stone walls. Some say the soldiers beheaded their victims, leaving their souls trapped within the hotel's cursed walls. After the war, the hotel reopened, but guests reported cold hands gripping their ankles in bed, whispers in empty hallways, and the sound of muffled sobbing echoing from the basement. The Basement Chant, a full investigator's account, as recounted by Miguel Santos to Baguio Paranormal Society, 2002. Date, November 17, 1989. Time, 11:42 p.m. Team members present, Father Carlo Manalo, exorcist, 52, June Reyes, sound engineer, 28, Dr. Lorna Quinto, parapsychologist, 39, Miguel Santos, lead investigator, 34. 11:58 p.m. Descent into the basement. The stairs groaned like a dying man's breath as we climbed down. Our flashlights carved shaky circles on walls stained in odd vertical streaks, later identified by Dr. Quinto as high-velocity blood spatter patterns. June set up the recorder. The moment he pressed play, the reel spun backward on its own, emitting a guttural chant, Agnus Dei, qui tollis peccata mundi, miserere nobis. Lamb of God, who takes away the sins of the world, have mercy on us. But distorted, as if sung through a throat full of mud. 12:17 a.m. The first physical contact. Dr. Quinto's thermometer shattered, its mercury forming perfect droplets that rolled uphill toward the far wall. Then we heard it, a child's giggle. It came from the northwest corner, where the original torture chamber stood. When I swung my light, the beam caught a small handprint, size of a 6-year-old's, forming in mold. Black liquid seeping from between bricks, smelling of burnt sacramental wine. Father Manalo began the rite of exorcism. The moment he spoke, Vade retro satana, the basement shook like an earthquake. 12:33 a.m., the unholy interruption. The recorder captured it first, a wet, ripping noise, later analyzed as flesh being peeled from bone. Then the voices came, not from one direction, but from inside our heads. We were promised confession. Where is our priest? Father Manalo vomited violently, his puke filled with rusty nail fragments. His eyes rolled back as he screamed in 1940s Japanese, Harakiri oshimasu, I will commit ritual suicide. June's recorder later revealed the real horror. A second voice, underneath the priests, a little girl singing Bahay Kubal, in reverse. 12:47 a.m. The walls breathe. The bricks bulged inward, forming 4 distinct human silhouettes. A tall man, Japanese officer's cap visible in outline. A priest, noose clearly dangling from neck. A woman, pregnant belly distended. A child, arms outstretched as if crucified. Dr. Quinto's EMF reader exploded, sending shrapnel into her leg. The wound later festered with fungus matching 1940s burial mold. 12:59 a.m., the final message. As we dragged Father Manalo toward the stairs, the Betacam somehow turned back on, capturing 3 seconds of usable footage. The walls split open like a grinning mouth. Skeletal hands, some adult, some child-sized, reached out. A single whispered phrase in Latin, Japanese, and Ilocano simultaneously. "You will join the choir." Then absolute silence. Not even our breath was recorded. Aftermath. Father Manalo spent 6 months in a psychiatric ward, diagnosed with shared psychotic disorder. He refused to speak of that night until his 2005 death. June Reyes quit paranormal research. His wife claimed he'd wake up screaming about the singing in the walls. The Betacam tape was sealed by the diocese. A leaked transcript describes additional footage of a mass of writhing limbs forming a makeshift altar. The unanswered question: why did all 12 crucifixes shatter in the exact same pattern, radiating outward from the spot where the child's handprint appeared? Portions of this account were corroborated by the Baguio City Health Office's 1990 report on mass hallucination events. Warning: the basement was sealed with reinforced concrete in 1992. Construction workers reported knocking from inside the cement for 3 days after pouring. The Night Watchman's Final Shift, 1995. A full account. As testified by security guard Ramon Ileto to Baguio PNP, October 31, 1995. The night of October 28, 1995. Time, 10:15 p.m. Personnel on duty: Teodoro Tatedoro Alcantara. Night watchman, 63 years old. Ramon Ileto. Backup guard, arriving at midnight. Dispatch officer Benji Morales. Radio contact at HQ. 10:30 p.m. Routine check-in. Tatedoro's voice crackled over the radio. Sector 3 clear, over. Static hissed for exactly 13 seconds after each transmission. Later analysis showed it contained subaudible whispering in multiple languages. His last normal report at 11:47 p.m. noted, "Lights in the ballroom, maybe kids, investigating." Wait, piano's playing, nobody here. Then came 3 minutes of audio, later erased from HQ's tapes, though witnesses recall hearing a child singing "Pen Pen de Sarapen," off-key, the sound of glass breaking in reverse. Tatedoro whispering, "Ayoko na. I don't want to anymore." 12:03 a.m. Ramon arrives. Ramon found the front gates wide open, though Tatedoro always kept them chained. Wet footprints, size 5, child's, leading up the main stairs, but none coming down. All the hotel's mirrors fogged up, despite the cold, dry air. His flashlight beam caught movement in the ballroom, the grand piano's keys depressing on their own, playing a lullaby. Tatedoro's widow later identified as his favorite from childhood. 12:17 a.m. The hunt begins. Ramon's radio suddenly blared to life with Tatedoro's voice screaming, "Nasan kayo? Hindi ako nag-iisa dito. Where are you? I'm not alone here." Then came sounds of something heavy being dragged. Nails scratching wood at impossible speed, later measured at 45 scratches per second. A new voice, a little girl giggling, coming from both the radio and the second-floor hallway simultaneously. Ramon drew his revolver and ran toward the noise. 12:33 a.m., the upper hallway. The second floor was physically impossible. The stairs led to a solid wall, confirmed by daylight inspection. Yet that night, Ramon found a fully intact hallway with 1940s-style wallpaper, 7 doors, all slightly ajar, with cold blue light spilling out. Tatedoro's cap on the floor, soaked in salt water. Baguio is landlocked. From door number 3 came wet chewing sounds. When Ramon kicked it open, he saw a long banquet table set with rotten food and human teeth as place markers. Tatedoro strapped to a chair, his mouth sewn shut with black hair, the walls pulsing like lungs. Then the door slammed shut on its own. 12:47 a.m. The rescue. Backup arrived to find Ramon curled in a ball in the ruined ballroom, Tatedoro standing atop the piano, his eyes rolled back, singing the lullaby. Every mirror now showed the same image, A Japanese officer forcing children to kneel, their reflections' mouths moving in unison with Tatay Doro's song. When medics touched Tatay Doro, his skin burned them at -20 degrees Celsius, confirmed by Baguio General Hospital. Aftermath. Tatay Doro never spoke again. Died 13 days later. Autopsy showed his tongue had turned to petrified wood. Ramon quit security work. His last interview, 1997, revealed his revolver's melted bullets had reformed into tiny figurines of kneeling children. He still hears the lullaby every night at exactly 12:33 a.m. The piano vanished in 1996. A tourist claimed to see it in a sealed upper room during a 2012 ghost tour. The unexplained. Why did Tatay Doro's wristwatch stop at 12:33 a.m., yet hospital records show he was found at 1:17 a.m.? Last warning. The hotel's caretakers swear that on foggy nights you can still hear a child counting hide-and-seek numbers, but the counting never reaches 10.
Our last story was compiled from the recovered iPhone data, hostel CCTV, and German consulate reports. Annabelle Kohler, 24, German backpacker. During a guided tour, Annabelle used a Swiss Army knife to pry loose a blackened silver crucifix from a collapsed wall near the hotel's ruined chapel. The guide, Maria Santos, warned, "That's not decoration, it's a grave marker. Put it back." Annabelle laughed, pocketing the 8-inch cross. Security footage shows the moment she touched it. All nearby birds simultaneously took flight. Her shadow briefly detached from her body. The crucifix's Christ figure turned its head, confirmed by 3 other tourists. At the Baguio Holiday Hostel, room 207, Annabelle's iPhone video log begins normally. She jokes about ghost hunting while placing the crucifix on her nightstand. Then, the crucifix stands upright on its own, vibrating. A voice whispers, "You took me from home." The bathroom mirror fogs up, revealing a child's handprint forming in the condensation and words appearing in German, Annabelle's native tongue. Blut muss zahlen. Blood must pay. At 01:33, the iPhone's front camera activates automatically, capturing Annabelle sleeping while a black mass with too many joints crawling across the ceiling toward her, and the crucifix rotating 180 degrees to face the wall. The hostel's hallway CCTV shows Annabelle's door opening by itself at 1:58 a.m. Wet footprints, small, child-sized, leading into her room. At 2:17 a.m., 3 minutes of static, her iPhone recorded during this blackout. 2:18 a.m., Annabelle's voice, but 3 octaves deeper. "We'll make a new cross from your bones." 2:20 a.m., sound of fingernails splintering. 2:22 a.m., a choir singing Ave Maria backwards. Housekeeping found the room locked from inside. Walls covered in scratches, later matched to Annabelle's nails. The bed soaked in salt water, later DNA tested as 80% human, 20% unknown. Most disturbing? The iPhone encased in candle wax on the floor. The stolen crucifix fused to the wall, now depicting the Christ figure replaced by Annabelle's screaming face. The crossbeam morphed into skeletal arms. Aftermath. Annabelle's passport was found at the Diplomat Hotel, stuffed inside a wall cavity. German investigators noted her journal's last entry. "They showed me where the other children are buried. I have to help them dig." In 2019, a maintenance worker claimed Annabelle's ghost now appears in the hotel's upper windows every March 4th, holding a small silver cross that drips black fluid. The unanswered question: why did Annabelle's iPhone, despite being encased in wax, continue recording for 72 hours after her disappearance, capturing nothing but the sound of someone slowly chewing bone? Last warning.
5 people have touched that crucifix since 2007. All 5 are now buried in unconsecrated ground. These 3 souls, Father Carlo Manalo, Tatay Doro Alcantara, and Annabelle Kohler, walked into the Diplomat Hotel as skeptics, seekers, or simply unlucky bystanders. None left unchanged. Some didn't leave at all. Father Manalo learned too late that some sins cannot be absolved. They must be endured. Tatay Doro discovered that the dead don't just watch, they invite you to stay. Annabelle proved that stolen relics always demand payment in blood. The hotel's horrors are not confined to its crumbling walls. They spread through recordings, nightmares, and the objects foolishly taken from its grounds. So heed this lesson. The Diplomat Hotel does not haunt. It infects. It waits. And it always collects what it is owed. Sleep with the lights on tonight. You never know what or who might be listening from the other side of the mirror. Enter at your own peril.
Smash that like button if these true stories chilled you to the bone. Comment to pay respects, or if you've ever felt something watching you from an empty room. Subscribe for more real Philippine horror stories, because the Diplomat Hotel isn't the only place where the dead don't stay dead. Turn on post notifications. Unless you're afraid of what might appear in your feed at 3:33 a.m. Last chance to look away, but we both know you'll be back.